What's up, Tommy Chong?
Well, they told me to call you, and here I am.
That's I was a little worried. I'm glad you called. I was a little worried about the Pacific time versus the Central time. I get pretty easily confused by that.
Yeah, I get confused just waking up, man.
I hear you. See, and I no offense, I was curious whether or not you were going to be up on time because it's noon for you, right?
Yeah, it's noon. Yep.
Noon.
Yeah, I usually get up at 4:20.
Is that true? That's not true.
No.
So
I wish it was, man. I've been up early every day for a month now.
Is it true you're working on a new film with Cheech?
No. Cheech has now got a job on Fox TV. Duets. He's going to be a duet singer.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I thought I heard on I don't know where I heard it, but I thought there was a big buzz going around that you guys might do a reunion movie.
We tried, but we just couldn't agree on the I wanted to be like Cheech and Chong in the old days, and he wanted to do a new version. And so I'm an old guy, and it's hard to teach me new tricks.
I understand. I'm getting up there myself.
Yeah. So no, but I've been working. My wife and I have been on the road. We do comedy. We've been doing it for the last 10 years, and we've got a few projects in mind. And then, but I've been working on the book. That's my big deal.
Okay, let's talk about that book.
Sure.
What's the name of it?
It's called The I Chong, and it's Meditations from the Joint. It's the story of what happened to me before and during and after the bust of the big drug raid big paraphernalia raid on my house on February 24th, 03.
Before we talk about the book, could you tell me a little bit of what that was like, being raided, and I mean, did they drag you out of there?
Well, no, they were very polite on one hand, and on the other hand, they just went in my house like cops and robbers, and then they come, they took out my computers and all the smoking pipes I had, except all the bongs and the little hand pipes.
Those they left.
And they left my opium pipes. Apparently, it's okay to smoke opium, but it's not okay to smoke pot.
That makes no sense.
That's the message. And they kept saying, "You're not under arrest. You're not under arrest." And so I wasn't afraid. I was talking, very freely, and I should have shut up because everything I said they did use against me in court.
That sounds like the company I work for.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
How long were you in jail?
I did 9 months, and I was on probation. I was on pre-probation for 3 months, and then I got time in jail, and then I was on 9 months, and then I was on probation for a year after that.
Man, what can you share a little bit what that's like being in jail for 9 months? I mean,
it wasn't bad. I had one bad half hour, when I first went in, like reality finally set in. I really was in jail, and I was going to be there for 9 months. It got pretty good because I was in, those white-collar jails that they build for Republicans.
They're nicer than my apartment?
Yeah. So they're cleaner, for sure. The cleanest place I'd ever been in, because the inmates didn't have many jobs to do, and so we would have contests to see who would have the cleanest dorm. And so they would scrub. They scrubbed there like almost 6 hours a day. They scrubbed the whole place down every day, and I was down. I was in jail with a lot of really nice people. Again, most of them were Republicans, because that's the new criminal these days. And so it was an experience.
What did you do to kill time? I mean, 9 months it's not a life sentence, but
I learned how to be a convict. I started hanging with a real, guy that'd been down, and so he showed me how to do it. You play cards and a lot of games. I started playing bocce ball, and I really got into bocce ball, and then I would walk the track and just work in the garden, and then I'd write whenever I could. I'd write, and then I'd play guitar. They had a little guitar room and a pool room, and so you could, recreation. There was actually more to do than at my house,
Do you feel, without getting into way too much detail, do you feel like you were targeted? Some people might theorize that because you made a very successful life for yourself with marijuana humor, and some people might say glamorize it. Do you feel like you were targeted at all?
Absolutely. And as far as glamorizing pot, all we did was show the other side.
I honestly do feel that way. I didn't feel like any of the Cheech and Chong movies glamorize it. They were hilarious, but you showed both sides.
I mean, what we showed the truth. We showed how dumb the cops were. We showed how the radical, and how dumb the stoners were. I mean, this was a story about dumb people.
That's perfectly said.
Yeah.
Now, in the 60s, you played guitar in a rhythm and blues band called Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers. Is that right?
Yeah. That's where I got my early comedy training.
Really?
Yeah, because when I was in an all-black group, and so I never really said much, but I watched and I listened. And the way the black musicians, exist, well, the way musicians exist, period, anywhere in the world, they're on the road a lot, is with humor. And the humor is just non-stop, because musicians are so good at picking up, riffs and they got timing. The best comedians in the world are great musicians. Like Peter Sellers was a drummer, one of the finest drummers ever. And Buddy Rich, a drummer, was also a great comedian. Has great timing. Jack Sheldon, he's another jazz musician. Another very funny guy. Used to hang with Lenny Bruce. So that's where I got my early comedic training. That's
a great point. Do you think that I never thought of it really that way. Do you think that comedy stems from some sort of pain cover-up of some sort, the same way any creative outlet would, that you're masking?
Well, it's not masking. What you're doing, you're coping.
Yeah, that's a better word, coping.
You're coping. Well, like there was great humor in the concentration camps. Believe it or not, there were. In fact, this one actor, a friend of mine, Roy Daltrey. No, Roy. God, what's his last name? Anyway, he was in when he was in the Second World War. He ended up in a prisoner of war camp, and that's where he got into theater because the only way to survive that kind of existence was to get into something creative, and they did theater and they did a lot of comedies, and so laughter is the best medicine.
It really is. That sounds like a screenplay that a lot of people probably wouldn't want to touch, but maybe Mel Brooks and you guys could work on something.
Yeah. But laughter is the best medicine, period. Because what happens, it diffuses whatever situation you're in. And I've been, like I said, I was in a black band, and I remember being down south, and we're in fact, we were playing a place where black kids weren't allowed Smokey Robinson was headlining, and Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers, we were opening the show, and we met black kids standing outside that weren't allowed into the concert because they were black. And so, and it's funny, I was the only non-black guy, and I was the only guy that protested to the point where I got the black kids admitted in because it's against the law, And so we and the black musicians in that, they didn't dare protest because they were just trained, not to. But I wasn't. So I seen the prejudice, firsthand, in America, being with that black band. And like I said, it was funny. They would come across a racist, and there would be nothing but jokes, and we'd be laughing about how stupid they were, and it would be like really good humor.
It's amazing how much times have changed. Can you reflect back on, if you remember your first experience that you knew, holy crap, I'm going to be able to make a career doing this? Was it during the band, or was it when you met Cheech? Was it in and around that time? Or?
It was when, I'll tell you exactly when it was. We had a improvisational group, and I just threw it together because I was really tired of. It was a strip club, and I was tired of watching the girls do this stupid show that they did. So I put a comedy routine together with the girls, And it was so successful that we changed the audience from a bunch of rowdy bikers to some legitimate theater goers that wanted a theater experience. Unfortunately, we cut our income almost in half because the theater goers wouldn't spend money like the drunk bikers. And so the group broke up, and we went back to the old format, and Cheech and I stayed together, and we formed a band. But we were going to play music at this Battle of the Bands place. But instead of playing music, I said, Cheech, let's do some comedy first, and then we'll get into music. And we did the comedy, and we never did touch the instruments. We never played a note. And that night, I knew that Cheech and Chong were destined to become the biggest comedy act in the world. I knew it. That's
great, man. You've had how many? Over 17 films, if I counted correctly?
Well, I've been in a ton of films, but Cheech and I made 5, 6 films.
I'm glad
that are still being rented. Cheech and I are Up in Smoke and Next Movie and Still Smoking and Nice Dreams are the top rentals to this day of videos, other than the babysitting videos. The Lion Kings. Cheech and Chong videos hold the number one spot and have held that number one spot for 30 years.
It doesn't surprise me because the Cheech and Chong movies have, I don't know if it's an actual term, but a rewatchability. You can just watch them over and over.
Life. I think because part of it is because, the humor was perfect and timeless. There was no time. It could be, the events could have happened yesterday or 30 years ago. We were timeless.
You mentioned before you did some comedy with your wife. Same woman for over 30 years, right?
Oh, yeah, well over 30 years. Yeah, same lady, same gorgeous creature. I mean, she's the reason I don't need Viagra.
Any advice for how to make a relationship work with the same person for that long?
The best advice was the way she did it. She would never say that we were going together. We were never boyfriend and girlfriend. We were never engaged.
No pressure.
We were, what it was, she met me when I was married. And so we were friends just for the longest time. And then the friendship turned into love, and the love turned into a relationship. But she would never, ever let me say that she was my girlfriend. She didn't belong to anybody. And I remember being jealous, because even though I was married, and she had to go to the prom or something because she was very young. She was in school. And she had to go to the prom with somebody else, and I was jealous. And she said, we're not going together. You have no right to be jealous. And 30 years later, we just got married, about a couple of years ago. And and that was for tax reasons. But she still has that same attitude, like, we're not together.
That's funny.
It's very funny, but that's the advice I would say. Just don't commit. Just either one. You're together because you want to be together.
I'm going to throw a couple of questions at you.
Sure, man.
Tommy Chong, hugely successful musician, comedian, half of Cheech and Chong, and with all due respect, ex-convict, I guess now, too. Yeah. Leo on that 70s show.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw some questions at you real quick. What's the ultimate munchie food?
Ultimate munchie food? Well, probably pot-based brownies.
That would lead to more perpetual munchie food.
Well, you said ultimate.
Perfect. Tommy Chong bongs. Can you still sell them? Where do we stand on that?
I can't sell them, but they exist, and they're kind of pricey now, but they're still the best.
I wonder if it would be legal for you to give them away free. They can't. Can they police that if you're not selling them?
No. According to the statute that they convicted me on, or that I pled guilty to, anything that looks, tastes, smells, could not be used as a bong. It's all legalese. Is considered a bong. Not to exclude alligator clips.
All right.
Basically, I can't hand you an empty soda can without breaking the law.
Now, that confuses me because you can go... I'm from the East Coast originally, and radio has me moving around the country. Everywhere I go, there's a head shop that sells pot pipes. Why can I walk into a store in any city and buy a pop pipe?
Well, because it's like you're in jail. America is like everybody's in jail, and in jail you have rules, and the rules are made that when they want to bust you, they have reason to. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
It's like the speed limit, for instance. They can put their speed limit ridiculously low in certain places purposely to pad the treasury with speeding tickets, and that's what the laws of this country are designed to. There's a law for everybody. Well, look at the perjury laws, or look at the conspiracy laws. If they want you, they get you. Just remember that.
Was the prison that you served time in? Someone said it was the prison designed for Watergate. Is that true?
Yeah, it was designed for people. It was a prison. It was designed like for the Republicans. They had a bunch of them during Nixon's time, the Watergate people, and so they designed this white collar prison. It's a camp where it's a chalk line around the edge, and there's no fences, and it's mostly sports things. It's designed for people that that either shouldn't be in jail or should be in or are in jail for non-violent crimes.
Right, and plus you're a celebrity. They couldn't put you with the regular population.
Well, they could. I mean, they did with Robert Downey Jr. They did, but they gave Robert Downey Jr. a lot of chances before they finally put him in the slammer. With me, I really technically never broke any law. It was a political bust, and so they treated me much like a political prisoner.
Before we talk about your book a little bit, we all read the internet now. It's the internet age. You can't believe everything you read on the internet. I saw one article said that you, as part of your release from your term, could not benefit in any way, shape, or form from your prison time, meaning you couldn't write a parody or a comedy routine or anything about it.
Well, I checked with my lawyer on that one, and they're more than happy to, if the government or anybody wanted to come after me on that statute. That statute was made for rapists and murderers that are, convicted of heinous crimes, but it doesn't apply to like I say, Republicans or white collar people, and I'm considered a white collar guy. And even though it was written into the order, it's totally unconstitutional and unenforceable. The reason being is that this is the way I made my living before I went to jail. So you know what I'm saying? Like if you were indicted or did time for, say, computer fraud, they could say you can't touch a computer for 5 years or something. You can't. You're not allowed to be near a computer. But because I never really committed a crime, I can profit. I can do whatever I want because I'm not talking about shipping bongs across state line, for instance, conspiring to.
Right.
And so technically, I can say whatever I want.
It's a pleasure to talk to you, Tommy. Let's talk about your book.
Okay.
What's it called again?
The I Chong.
The I Chong.
Yeah.
Can you give us a synopsis? What's it about?
It's about what happened to me before. It's a little bit of biographical. It talks about my early traumatic childhood, and then it goes into the bust, and then my time in jail, and then my views. I got a lot of spiritual views in there because what happens when you go to jail, you do tend to get more spiritual than normal because that's all they encourage. You're only encouraged to take a Bible or a religious book in with you. And so I studied the Bible, and I studied the I Ching, which I named the book after, I Chong. And I really got into a lot of metaphysical situations, and I'm still profiting from them. I don't smoke pot anymore. I'm on a fast until we change these pot laws. And it's the book really just it's a easy read, and it was edited by this beautiful person in New York. Her name is Trish, and you have to buy it. I mean, everybody has to have at least 2 or 3 in their house.
I'm looking forward to reading it. I wish I had the time to read it before I had the chance to talk to you, but was the spirituality wasn't completely foreign to you, or was it? I know you're part Irish?
Part Irish, part Scottish, half Chinese.
Did that come with any kind of, the Irish part, did that come with any kind of Catholicism, or...
No, not at all, not at all. No, I was raised in the country, and the thing, when you're in the country, the only entertainment you have are like the Jehovah's Witness, you know? I mean, they're the only ones that will come out that way. And so I went to Sunday school for my enjoyment, and actually went to church. You know, sometimes they'd have services Saturday or whatever, and I would go and get off on the singing and the praying. You know, I really got off on it. Then I went to Bible camp, and I really got indoctrinated into the art of prayer, and it's always helped me. It's stayed with me. And then I was a seeker. I became a seeker of the truth, and I started studying metaphysics, and got into it that way. And then I met some musicians that were also, you know, enlightened, and they also turned me on. And so I've always been on a quest, and it shows in my book.
Is this your first book?
Yeah.
Was it as a result of your prison mishap there, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
basically that was the selling point. You know, every book has to have like a hook, and that was the hook.
Interesting. You've offered us so many years of great comedy, and we hope you continue to do so. What's it like working on the set of the '70s show?
Oh, it was beyond wonderful. You know, it was easy. I was like the guest. You know, the stunt celebrity. Topher used to call us. And
you could tell you're having fun. It transcends.
It was so much fun, man. We laughed. I mean, Wilmer would just keep everybody happy, and Ashton. I mean, the whole gang was so sweet and like great acting. You know, like Red. You know, Kurtwood Smith, and then the director. It was like going to acting school. I would spend countless many afternoons sitting and watching him direct and teach the kids how to do sitcoms and how to work with scripts and how to interpret the written word. It was fabulous.
That's great. The book is called I Chong. It's on store shelves now.
Yeah, it's there. It's in your stores nearest you. It's on the New York bestseller list.
I'm looking forward to reading it. Can I get you to send one to Franzman and the One Man Party?
I sure will, man.
That's great.
I'll send it autographed, everything.
Cool. I'm really looking forward to reading it.
Okay, my friend. Hey, man, this is Tommy Chong, and you're listening to Franzman and the One Man Party.
That's beautiful.
Thanks,
Tommy.
Bye-bye.